Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever or whenever you may be. This is the overnight. I am DM Foss. Joining me tonight is Baron. How you doing,
How's it
Baron?
going? Thank you for the invite.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up. And also, Night Strike, um, owner operator of GunTube.org. How's it going tonight?
Hey, how's it going?
It's doing good.
It's a little past my bedtime. I'm just saying.
Well, thank you for being a trooper and staying up for me.
Yeah, I know. I'm kidding. I wasn't actually sleeping. I was just screwing around. But yeah, hey, thanks for the invite. Glad to be here. Whatnot.
Hopefully, here in a little bit, we'll have Guns Barbecue jumping in if he can.
Well, it's if he's not taking care of his kids.
So, let me.
You got anybody out there?
There he is.
Oh! Look who finally woke up from his nap.
Just in time, Guns and Barbecue. How's it going?
Oh, this time zone stuff is a little tricky when you're talking about a time zone that has not got to set the clocks back yet. Never thought about, that the fact that you guys don't set your clocks back at 2 a.m. like we do here on the East Coast at that same time. So theoretically, in my head, you guys would have, I guess, been doing it at 11 because that would have made sense. I didn't even think about it. Then you call and you're like, yep. I'm like, yeah. And you're like, well, we're about to go live. What are you doing? I'm like, we're going live at 3 tonight? You're like, He's like, oh, you set your clocks back. I'm like, oh, crap.
That's all right, because I was thinking the opposite. I thought, well, we start at 1 and clocks won't turn back until 2, that's no problem.
All my clocks connect to the internet that are on computers, so they're automatically updated, so I don't have to touch them.
So yeah, well,
I think we can all agree it's the farmer's fault.
100%.
Yeah, they should abolish it. We don't need it anymore.
Where's Pat Hirsch? He's out there somewhere. It's his fault.
It's not Pat's fault. Don't blame Pat.
You're right. It's Night fault.
No, don't blame me either. It's not my fault.
So tonight I thought we would... Oh, hang on. I forgot one thing since Barbecue came in late. And now, making his way to the ring, weighing in at 245 pounds, standing an astonishing 5 feet 10 inches tall, the reigning U.S. middleweight late night firearms champion, Guns and Barbecue.
Woo! I'm too wired and more potatoes.
That's so good.
Every time you come on, that's gonna.
I'm gonna have to contest.
I love it. Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to contest that for the title. We may have to have a cage match for that title. I'm saying.
That would be awesome.
We'll do it.
A cage gun match. We got to do it.
A gun match.
Yeah. How we would do this, I have no idea, but it would be entertaining at least.
See, I've heard you can't hit the broadside of a barn. I'm not too worried. I'm only the size of half the broadside of a barn, so.
Yeah, well, I'm not too worried either because my vision is better than yours.
We'll figure it out.
But only slightly when I have my glasses on.
So there was I put out a couple polls. This week. And one of them was, how often do you clean your guns? And we had a pretty good turnout, 564 votes, which is great, to get people to interact and tell me what they think. 48% said after every range trip. 19% said after a couple range trips. 2%, I think that's one person, said they pay someone to clean them. And then 30% said, what is this cleaning your guns you speak of?
That was me, by the way. That 2%.
Yeah.
I
used to be after every range trip, as soon as I got home, break everything down, get it all cleaned up, and then I started getting lazy. So it became after every couple range trips.
I have a trick. You take someone shooting and you pay them in ammo and you make them clean everything.
I have a better trick. It's called, you buy this thing called the bore snake, and you just pull it down the barrel after you're done shooting it, and you're good.
Yeah, those are awesome. I got a bunch.
Yeah. That's really the only cleaning I do on my guns, unless I absolutely have to get everything off of it. But normally I don't have to get everything off of it. Just clean the barrel. You're good.
I do hate those for revolvers, though.
I don't
With
have
the
any
chambers.
problems. I don't have any problems with that, because honestly, if I'm going to clean a handgun barrel, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to disassemble the slide, pull the barrel out, and then put and then clean the barrel.
Well, I mean, when you're doing the cylinder, I find it's easier to just use a bore brush.
I have one revolver. I never shoot it because it's made out of pot metal.
Still a revolver. It needs love.
I'm never probably going to shoot.
You need
that.
to hold it, caress it, love it, call it George.
No.
But what got me kind of onto the topic, why I wanted to talk about it, was after the last chat, Guns and Barbecue and I were talking, and he mentioned that he's kind of encountered people that will take their guns to gunsmith to have them cleaned. And that was something I was very surprised. I had never even considered taking it to somebody to have it cleaned. And I don't know if it was, they don't have the time to do it themselves. They just don't want to do it themselves, or, they don't know how to do it themselves. So I thought we'd, do a little bit, cover kind of basics for somebody that maybe is new to guns, or, doesn't know how to clean their guns. I would venture that most gun owners do, but there, as it seems, there are some that don't.
I've bought used guns from those people.
Yeah. So have I.
Yep, it's a wonderful thing. But I'd like to say, in my personal finding, I find that most people are either too intimidated to do the deep clean that the gun needs, because most of them will at least take a rag to it, wipe it down, get any moisture off, because most of the people that I deal with, they're only taking their firearms out after they had gone hunting, and when they do that, inclement weather, rain, snow, things like that, so that they'll wipe them off and then put it away. If they shot it, maybe like Night Strike said, maybe run a bore brush or bore snake down it. Some of them were still getting a little bit old school and doing the old brass rods and whatnot, but I found that most of them are too intimidated to actually take the gun apart, separate the action from the stock, things like that. And option 2 is they're just lazy. And it sounds rough, but it's the honest to God truth. They're just lazy. They're like, nope, don't want to do it.
Boss, can you do me a favor? Can you be my hand model and show that bottle of oil real quick for me? Coming soon, GunTube CLP. That's what you should use to clean your guns. Not only does it clean it, it lubricates it and protects it.
I had a great video where I featured that.
Yeah.
And then
you used it.
Gave me no. Well, I still got some left, but YouTube gave me channel strike for it.
Yeah, well, YouTube likes to strike people.
Well, I would ask you why, but they won't tell you why.
No, they
well,
won't.
It's because I made a video on how to assemble an AR-15 lower, and apparently that's frowned upon.
What you didn't mention? You didn't mention that you were assembling it to clean it for maintenance.
Oh, that's what I'm going to do this next time.
You have to do.
I'm actually going to.
You have to literally say this. Guys, I'm gonna show you how to clean, maintain, and properly assemble your rifle and
Mhm.
disassemble it, so you can
So-
clean it and maintain it. See, as Clover has stated before, it's all about context. If you
Mhm.
don't have the proper context in the video, they'll strike you for it.
I probably won't ever do that, and I'll just
Yeah, and you'll just
take the risk.
take the risk. You know?
Yep.
Hey, you're more than welcome to, but just be aware. If you get a strike, that's probably why. I
Yeah,
hate it. I hate it too. That's why I post most of my. If I have any of those videos that I want to do, I will post them on guntube.org instead of YouTube.
Why don't you, while you're on GunTube, why don't you tell us a little bit about GunTube?
GunTube's an alternative YouTube platform that I set up several years ago to get around some of the bullshit we just talked about that YouTube has, because YouTube's revolving door policy is getting very restrictive and overly stupid of what you can and can't do on their platform anymore. I mean, you can't disassemble a gun and just show people how to disassemble and reassemble a gun, or how to put together an AR-15 lower or whatnot, without having to say you're doing it for maintenance and cleaning. I mean, that sounds stupid, doesn't it? Or any firearm for that matter.
Why don't you make a comment, and then I can make you moderator, and you can drop a link.
Comment. Very original, I know.
That works. So put user in timeout. Oh,
There we go. There we go. Timed out. All right.
so there you go. Go ahead and drop a link for GunTube.
So, Foss, I don't mean to drag us off into the weeds at all, but how in the world did you get almost 600 people to partake in your poll? Because, I mean, that's like what? Last I saw it, 2/3 of your subscribers almost, a little bit more. Like, that's incredible.
It's
He's not Hank Strange, so it's not inconceivable.
there were, I've had see how to explain it. It was chance, partly chance, and things fell into line. I've had a couple video memes that I've done. One is at 352,000. This last one's at 401,000 views. And I picked up a lot of subs off those.
So you kind of went.
That's great. Good for you. That is wonderful.
And I'm pretty sure that's, that carried over a little bit. They saw those, and then I had just put up the polls, right after that. So that got a little more engagement.
I mean, I like that Dr. Faucio. That was pretty good.
I did too, but the ones that I like don't usually do real well.
Yeah.
But so back to cleaning.
Okay. Well, again, as I said, CLP works good. I mean, if you want to get more technical, there's other solvents and whatnot you can use that some of them require you to wash it out with water, some of them don't. It just kind of depends on what you use to clean your firearms. I mean, Baron, what do you clean your firearms with, if you do?
I use Rem oil.
Rem oil. Okay.
Or Ballistol.
I would rather use Ballistol over Rem oil because Rem oil has Teflon in it. I don't like Teflon on my guns.
I did not know that. What's your reason?
I'm not a fan of Teflon in general. I don't like it. I don't like it as a substance. I don't like it as a coating because sometimes they coat things in Teflon to make it slick. The problem is once you put it on something, it's a pain in the ass to get it off.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I'm not a big fan of Rem oil. And maybe since they've gotten rid of it and taken it out of Rem oil, I don't know. The last time I checked, they had Teflon in it, and I don't want it in my oil.
Oh, sorry, I was just grabbing some props.
But yeah, Ballistol's good. Just don't inhale the shit if you get the aerosol can.
I've used Ballistol before. I like Ballistol, but the problem is, someone several years ago did a test on oils. Okay, of what would actually pass oils that basically if you oiled a piece of metal up and left it outside for a certain amount of time, which one would rust faster? And believe it or not, Ballistol and CLP beat out Rem oil and everybody else.
Well, don't leave your stuff outside.
Yeah, don't leave your stuff outside. One and two, Ballistol and CLP will preserve your metal guns better and from rusting than other oils will.
I just use hoppies, and
Hoppies, yeah.
once I use all my hoppies up, then I'll
Mr. Big Spender, Mr. Big
get
Spender.
onto the gun tube lube.
Boss
that it's
took
got.
the words right out of my mouth. If it's not Hoppy's 9, it's not America.
Yeah, that's I use the hoppies oil too, just because they came as a set.
And if you like the fresh scent of Hoppies when you're cleaning your guns, you can also get it as an air freshener for your vehicle. True story.
For cleaning stuff, basically, I've got my little
Get your
brush kit.
Yeah.
So it's got your different size brush heads. Oops. And then you've got your your little extensions, and I don't even put the handle on them. It's not necessary. But
Because he's a man.
so you got
I
your
thought he was a mouse.
Man mouse.
He's a man mouse. Okay.
brush kit, and then Q-tips. Then these ones they have a pointy tip on them, which I don't think I have any loose ones right now. Which is nice because they get into the little smaller areas. I don't know if you can see the little pointy tip.
Yeah. Those pointy
And then also has your standard rounded tip. And I just got big pack off Amazon. And that, and then
I've got some of the longer ones that you can use that help you get it in places where it's hard to get.
yeah, I had some that have the wood stems on them, but they're
Yeah.
crap and they break. So I don't use them anymore.
Now do you use patches?
Well,
Mini
these are
patches?
the
Pipe cleaners?
wood, but these
Yeah,
these
I got
stems are
tons of those.
so fragile they always break on me.
Yeah.
And then your standard patches.
Yeah.
And you can
Yeah,
cut up your own, an old t-shirt or whatever, or buy a pack of them.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, and some thick paper towels. That's basically what I use.
By the way, Travis bought that C308 off of Foose. He had to use a whole bag of patches just to clean that thing.
But
Because Foose observed only cleaning the barrel.
when I clean, I'll kind of end up cleaning everything. But you've got what 4 or 5 basic parts: your magazine. Let me hold this in a special way. Your frame, your slide, recoil spring, and your barrel. It's 5 parts basically that you have to clean. And if you just clean these parts regularly, you should never have a problem.
Right.
Ideally.
And you can take apart your magazine, which this is a Glock, so it's a pain in the ass. I don't have the tool. But your standard magazine, you just push in the button, this slides off, wipe it down, put it back together. You're good to go.
You don't necessarily need a special tool, just a pointy object.
I know, but it was a pain to switch these out. And I'll usually I'll just wipe down disassemble everything, wipe everything down so I'm not trying to remove the grit with the cleaner. Wipe off.
What's the best way to remove that plate that's holding the striker in?
Oh, it's not hard.
I just use my thumbs.
Yeah.
Because I've tried to get mine off and it just doesn't want to come off.
Sometimes
the
pull
original?
forward on the striker a little bit. Slide that plate off very slowly, keeping a thumb behind where the striker was, or where the striker plate was, because that striker will come flying out.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's been a while since I've switched mine out, but it was not hard. But so after I give everything a good wipe down, then I'll go to my hoppies, and I'll run that pointed one through the slide rails. Get in there, and then anywhere you can see schmutz, I'll de-schmutz. Wipe your coil down. Some come apart, and if they come apart, I'll take them apart, wipe them down. But and the cleaner really, you only need to get kind of on the inside. You don't need to rub it on the outside or anything. And then when I apply oil, I've got one of the bottles with the needle applicator, and that's not necessary. You can just use your Q-tip or cotton swab, and then I'll go back in on the rails. Anywhere there is contact between parts, you can usually see there'll be shiny or scuff marks, and I'll wipe oil on that and reassemble. That's basically how you clean a gun.
Amazing.
It's not hard, and if you don't clean your
You
guns,
may have to do step-by-step videos so people can know.
I would encourage people that maybe don't clean their guns to clean your guns, because it helps just get you more familiar with your gun. Oh, I didn't cover cleaning the barrel.
No, you didn't.
That's where your brush kit comes in. You just pick out, this is a 40 cal, this is a 10 millimeter, same as a 40 cal. So you just find your corresponding brush. And with this kit, you screw on your little stem. And I just dip it in the bottle, which isn't the greatest, because then you're getting, dirt back in your bottle. Some people will pour it in the cap, and then dip your brush in your cap, shove it through, and I'll let it sit for a little bit, let it marinate. And then after all that, you just switch that out, and then you've got your patches. And there's a couple different heads to use for your patches, and I can't remember the technical names for them. This one, the patch just pokes onto it, and then
That's a jag.
And then the older style, you feed it through like a needle.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of that one. Sorry.
And then I'll just keep shove the patch through, flip it over, shove the patch through, and switch out, and keep doing that until it comes out clean. That's basically how I clean the gun.
So I'd like to make a quick little announcement to everybody. So if you're cleaning your guns and you discover that your significant other's pregnant and she's going to pop soon, undoubtedly you're going to be at the hospital, and undoubtedly you're going to have nurses coming into that room all the time, and they're going to constantly check if you have receiving blankets. And if you take at least the hospital I was always at when my children were born, if you take those receiving blankets out and put them in a diaper bag, which the nurses where I was actually encouraged it. They're like, take all the blankets you want. We got more. Just load it up on the receiving blankets. And they make amazing rags for cleaning your firearms.
Really? Hadn't heard
Yes. Another one I like to do was the ex. Somebody had given her these leak pads for her bra. And these are big absorbent pads, which work, again, great for absorbing oil, things like that, and make a nice applicator. And it's actually, because, again, it's for the lady's bra, cups to your hand very nicely. So that's kind of convenient. I'm not advocating for anybody to go out and take those from your wives or girlfriends or anything. They might get upset if they're actually wanting to use those. Wait until they're done lactating. And if they just happen to be laying around after that, tell her, hey, don't throw those out. I've got a perfect way to recycle them. And then you just put them in your gun care box. Last one was we had received a box of reusable diapers. Or I shouldn't say box, it was just a package of them. But reusable diapers are made of cloth, and once again, I have found work wonderfully for application of cleaning my firearms. So if you do happen to find that you have a little one along the way or just born, don't throw all that stuff out. A lot of it can be used for cleaning your firearms if you're not going to use it for the baby. Because I don't know about you guys, but I definitely was not using reusable diapers. I'll just destroy the environment. I'm selfish like that. I do apologize, everybody. But got those, and we actually kept them, and it took a year or two, and I found them. I was like, oh, we never... She's like, yeah, we weren't using those. It's like, I got a use for them now. This is great. Thank you.
There you go. Top tip.
There you go.
And that was...
That was not a bad idea.
I ran through real fast and, basic on cleaning a handgun. Just, it makes it kind of hard because I can't show too much and can't, have to be careful what I show with guns
That's
on
okay.
YouTube.
Later on, you can do a video about it and do it properly if you want.
But just tried to give just a quick overview for anybody that
It's really not
isn't
hard,
familiar with
guys. If those of you that are a little squeamish about it, just go slow, take your time. It's not like it's gonna run off on you.
and
Make sure you have it unloaded before you start cleaning. That's it.
if you're cleaning a revolver, it's even easier.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's enough to kind of interest people to clean your guns if you don't clean your guns. And, like it helps get you familiar with your gun. So you understand it. They are very simple mechanical machines. Once you kind of get to understand, there's not a lot in there. It's
there's not.
the beauty of simplicity, honestly. So don't be afraid to get to know your, whether it's a rifle or a handgun. Do you guys have anything to add? Cleaning?
There's some people out there that will have you believe if you don't clean your gun, it is going to fail. You're taking your life into your own hands at that point. You've committed mortal sin of firearm ownership. That's not the case. Now, if you just never clean the gun and you decide to put hundreds, possibly thousands of rounds through it and just neglect it, you're going to have issues at some point. But if you took it out and, just put 10 rounds through your EDC or something like that, and you didn't get to clean it right away when you got home, it's still going to function when you have to fire it later. I'm not saying don't clean it, but it's not going to be the end of the world like some people make it out to be.
Yeah, but also remember, cleaning it could help. It could help it run and function better. So
Yeah.
Normally cleaning it can't hurt.
Yeah.
Exactly. know,
I'm just getting that because
but you don't.
there's people out there that will have you believe, oh, you fired one shot. If you don't go home and clean that right when you get home,
No,
you are, it's a death sentence. It's not going to function the next time that you pull it out of the holster because you didn't clean it after that one shot. And you're like, whoa, that.
And don't listen to
extreme.
those people. Those people are just out to scare people.
Oh, there is a caveat. If you're shooting corrosive ammo
You
or
clean
black
it,
powder,
period.
you will ruin your gun.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
clean it.
That's a whole other ballpark that we probably didn't.
We don't have to go
think
down
about,
that,
touch
but-
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait, Boss. Do we have to go down that route, or do you want to just skim it?
Go ahead. You can go ahead and touch on it.
Okay, black powder. If you do old cap and ball, okay, if you're using Pyrodex or any other type of black powder, best to clean the gun after. While Pyrodex technically isn't corrosive, but it's dirty. It's super dirty. So with black powder or normal old gunpowder, that they used in cap and ball, that's where you used to use the patch, the ball. You used to use the ramrod to ram it into the barrel, and then you'd put a primer, a primer nipple on where the hammer strikes. You want to clean the gun because a lot of that powder, that old powder or that primer, is corrosive because of the chemicals and the substances they used back then. So you'd want to clean that. Also, again, if you're using old ammo that from like before probably the 70s from like some third world country, it's probably corrosive. So you're probably going to want to clean that gun after you get it. And again, when you buy the ammo, it'll say surplus ammo and it will say warning, corrosive. That means you'll want to clean your gun after shooting it.
Yeah, for most most ammo that you go and Winchester, I can't think of any brands.
Federal.
Federal, anything you find at your local gun shop, they're modern powders. You're not going to have to worry about it, but be aware that there are situations where, like Night Strike was saying, that you have to pay attention to.
If you go online or if you go to like your local gun shop and he says, "Hey, I got this crate of old Yugoslavian surplus ammo, or this old, Soviet era, surplus ammo, or any other third world country that used to be a comm block country," normally he's gonna have like 7.62 by 39 or the old Soviet pistol calibers, or he'll have 7.62 by 54R. It says it's corrosive. That means you're gonna have to clean it out with either ammonia or some other type of gun cleaning substance after firing it, because if that stuff stays in your barrel, that'll literally rot your barrel from the inside out.
Yep.
It'll rust the barrel, and then the rust will get flaky, and then the barrel will fall apart. I'm not kidding.
But
And if you got a semi-auto, you got to do the gas system too.
Yeah, you do. If you're gonna semi-auto, you got to clean the gas system as well as the barrel. Otherwise, bye.
But take this as it's something to be aware of, but don't be afraid of.
Don't be afraid of doing it. Just realize that if you do use that kind of ammo, that's what you have to do. That's why this is a PSA, a public service announcement saying if you can use non-corrosive ammo, you probably should.
But
I'd like
with that, being said, if you just clean it after you shoot,
You'll be fine.
you should be fine.
Yeah,
But-
because the example that I gave, if you're actually going out shooting, is not going to be a good test of any of that, because how often are you going to go out and just fire a few rounds? If you're going out to shoot, you're usually putting some rounds through the guns. So at that point, you're going to want to take them home, get them cleaned off, especially if you're out in inclement weather or anything like that. But like I said, if it was just, hey, I'm with some buddies and we're messing around and I pulled out my EDC and I put a couple shots through it, it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't. Also, I'd like to just give a couple of caveats. Voss did mention, with modern ammo and modern powders, things like that, you're not going to run into this issue. Now, Night Striker was talking about black powder. While the black powders and Pyrodex, things like that, are modern today, they are still very corrosive to your black powder firearms. So that still applies. Get them clean.
But
also,
they do make some Pyrodex that's non-corrosive though. Just be aware. But
also,
it's still dirty.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't come across corrosive ammo too much anymore.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I don't stumble across it too much anymore. I mean, I was just at a gun show today, and didn't notice any. Although there was not that much surplus ammo there, so
normally the corrosive ammo you'll find at gun shows or on online retailers, as I said, will be from third world countries or other countries that were former Soviet countries. That they may not necessarily be a third world country, but they were part of the Soviet Union at one point, and that's where you'll normally find corrosive ammo.
Yeah.
In certain circumstances, you might find corrosive ammo from countries also that are part of NATO, like Turkey and whatnot. So just be aware.
Yeah, be aware, but don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid.
So before we move on to AK-47s, on the ticker, there's the email address. If you have pictures of your AK, go ahead and submit them, and we'll look at them. If you're watching this in replay, you can still submit them, and we'll show them on the next chat, as long as I remember. Sometimes I forget. Mostly, I tend to forget. But
you do
send them anyways. And we'll need to do a quick spot for this month's sponsor.
I adore my 64, my Commodore 64. I cook with it, steam with it, educate the team with it. My Commodore 64. I pitch with it, catch with it, count my 64, the hats with it. My Commodore 64.
64K memory at a price that will put a computer in every home, business, and school years before anyone ever dreamed.
I adore my 64, my Commodore 64.
Yes, the Commodore 64, I believe, is the best-selling computer in history.
I don't believe that you're sponsored by Commodore. I'm sorry. I don't believe it.
Well, they don't exist anymore, so.
Yeah.
I still have one. I got one new in a box.
I've got one too.
I've played one, but never owned one.
You played one on TV. We get it.
Yeah. AKs.
AKs?
AKs. Let's learn about AKs. I have never shot an AK. I have never touched an AK. I have never even seen one up close.
You haven't seen one up close.
Closest I've shot was an SKS.
Well,
so
that's not. It's actually more accurate than an AK.
What? Yeah, they're
in certain instances, it's more accurate.
I don't know.
G-Webs is having a cow right now. Even if he's like asleep right now, like G-Webs just woke up out of a dead sleep and he's like, "I've got to throat punch Night Strike."
Yes, he probably does. But no, they're actually, believe it or not, there actually has been statistics proven that the SKS in certain instances is more accurate than an AK. But the point is, you're doing precision shooting, so you're not shooting multiple shots after the other like you would with an AK. Because remember, the SKS was designed to be semi-auto only. The AK was actually designed to be, full auto or select fire.
Before we get too far into the AK discussion, I'll look at the poll and read it to you guys. I just asked, I put the eternal rifle debate. Would you choose an AR-15, AK-47, or other? And then ask the people leave a comment. 62% said AR-15, which is not surprising. It's the most popular rifle in the U.S. is the AR-15 platform. AK-47 was 29%, and then other was 9%. So I wanted to also look at some of what people left as the others. We had one guy said a grease gun, which,
I mean,
45 cal, cool old grease gun.
If you like slow submachine guns at 45 cal, great.
Well, very controllable.
Very controllable, but still slow.
Had a couple people say SKS, and had a couple people say ShyTac, the 408 ShyTac.
I would love to have one of those.
I probably would never have the money to buy one.
If we wanted to
yeah.
send gun pictures to you, which email do we use?
It's scrolling down below. Can you see the chat?
Untapped boss.
It's probably this one you've got already.
Oh, I've got the live one.
Oh yeah. No, send it to the Untactical at Gmail. Let's see, we had a few M14s. A few people said it.
I've got one. Yeah.
Few people said both.
Both is good. I like both.
Winchester 94, AR-10,
I want one of those too.
M1 Grand. Midnight Range TM said a bacon cheeseburger.
Hey, Midnight.
Midnight loves the food. He just can't help himself.
There were a couple people that said Scars, and there were a couple AR-10s, and then one person said the HKG3.
I can't believe you didn't put the AK-50 on there.
Oh, also an Uzi. Someone put Uzi.
Uzi, yeah.
And there was a 900 Magnum, but I'm pretty sure he was not being serious. So let me get back to my chat. There we go.
So, boss, if you look over in the side chat, I have put a link there. While that is not a photo of my AK-47, it, however, is a short.
So give me just a second, and I'll call that up.
If you wish to share that, you don't have to.
Yeah, I'll share it.
Yeah.
Because ironically, I made a short of my AK-47, took no photos.
Check your email in a second. I sent you pictures.
I've got. Hang on. I just got to make sure, because I've got a couple YouTube tabs open, so I got to make sure I've got muted what I need muted.
Yeah. Mute what you need to mute.
Can't believe this guy. We're talking about AK-47s, and he didn't put a MAC-90 on that list.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, nope. That's not the right one.
Wrong one. Wrong one.
That's it, right there.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, I didn't realize I had music with it. Sorry if that gives you a copyright claim.
No, I probably won't. I'm not concerned about it.
At least I censored myself with that one.
I had a
Kinda
video
nice.
that had our music chat had like 30
That was
copyright claims on
incredible.
it.
That was a great chat. That was fun.
We'll do another one in the future. So back to AKs, where were we at?
I sent you an email.
Oh, okay.
We were
Why-
talking about how the SKS is better.
Well, let's try and keep it mainly to AKs because I wanted to be an AK topic. And
Yeah, that was just a joke, but
it's not so much. We're not going to be comparing, AR-15s with AKs. There will be some comparisons just as a baseline.
Just start asking questions about AKs, okay?
But not to say this is better than that. That's not the intention for this chat right now.
For reference, I was one of the guys out there that said both ARs and AKs because I love building ARs, but I love shooting my AK.
Yeah, but I
So-
hate the safety on the AK.
Well,
Let's get that out
it's-
of the way right now.
The safety is an acquired taste, okay? But
Who
I
uses
love,
safety on an AK?
I love the AK.
So
Right.
this,
Commies.
like I said, this is not a debate to say that one platform is better than the other platform.
No.
We're just having a discussion here.
I have both guns. I want to get another AK, but the problem is I'm not spending $900 on an underfolder right now.
Oh, so one an underfolder.
I want to know the next AK I get, it's going to be an underfolder. Unfortunately, I'm going to wait until the prices go down. Hopefully they go down. If they don't go down, then I'm going to build one, because I'd rather build one than, spend $900 to buy one. It's just, it's a principle thing. Okay. Spend less
So-
money to build one than I spend to buy one.
What sorry, I got your pictures, just trying to work on that while I'm talking. Why an AK? What are the benefits of an AK?
Well, before the excuse me, hold on. Before the
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Okay, before him, you get an AK or an SKS, primarily an AK because it's more fun. Because, well, hey, it's got decent sized magazines, they're plentiful, and the ammo was cheaper than AR ammo, because you get more of it in a box and whatnot. And that was in the before times, before the COVID prices, before the pandemic, before the dark times with Biden in office, and the Russian import ban. So that's why I got an AK, because I wanted something where it wasn't as cheap as 22 long rifle what it used to be, but it was like the next step up from 22 that you could shoot all day. Because that's how cheap it was back then. Nowadays, not so much, but you get the point, right?
So recoil wise, how does it compare to an AR-15?
Honestly, some people say it's got a bit more kick, but honestly, I don't notice the difference between the two. It doesn't bother me. I mean, the recoil is about the same, at least from my point of view. Okay, in my opinion, the recoil seems to be about the same. Yeah, people say the AK recoil is a bit more violent. Okay, I could see that just a little bit, but overall, I don't notice a difference between from 5.56 and 7.62 by 39, because if you look at the cartridge, okay, the 7.6 by 2 by 39, while it is a 30 caliber, it's a pretty short 30 caliber. So, I mean, compared to other 30 calibers, 308, 7.62 by 54R, or 30-06, they're longer cartridges. So you've got more powder in those. Whereas the AK, you don't have a lot of powder, but you got a 30 caliber bullet.
So Guns and Barbecue, I believe that you have AK.
I have two of them. I need to get a third.
Yeah.
Cause I have the Mac 90. I have the Visca that we just saw. Now I do have. What's that?
I wouldn't get a Visca, but you got one. If you love it, go for it. But that's not one I would recommend.
It was beggars can't be choosers at the time, and it was the right price. So
Okay.
it was like
I can see that. I can see that. If you got a good deal off of it, yeah.
Yeah, my LGS always has good deals. I paid $650 hairs for that one, and then the LGS that's actually 2 miles from me, the day that I brought that one home, had posted one on Facebook saying, "Hey, we got this in the shop today, blah blah blah." So I messaged him about it just to see what he was selling his for. Exact same Visca and everything. And he's like, $950. I was like, So that's what I figured. And that's why I always choose to go to my LGS that I sometimes plug on my channel, because he's a great dude. But yeah, so when I found the Visca, it was one of those deals where, man, there could be some stuff coming down the pipe where these might get really hard to get really quick, so.
No, I get it.
Yep. But because right before that, it was Christmas time, and they had one in that had beautiful wood furniture. It was one of the Century Arms ones that had a lot of the upgraded internals.
Right.
And it was still a good price, but Christmas time, it was not a good time to get it. And then after that, I was like, oh, probably should have got it. Then the Visca popped up. I was like, sweet. Then a couple months later, my uncle's like, you want to buy the Mac 90? I was like, yup. So now I just need to get one with wood furniture. But why did I get one? Well, like I just said, partly because necessity at that point. Beggars can be choosers, and things were looking a little precarious about the future. So snagged one when I could. Secondly, I just always wanted one, never had one. I felt like it's one of those things as a firearms owner that you need to own. I hate to say it, one of those things probably is a Glock. Gentlemen on the panel.
We're talking AKs right now.
I know, I'm just saying, there's guns that you should have in your collection, just like a lot of people would say a Glock. I say an AK and an AR. Obviously, we're talking about AKs, but AK is definitely one that I think you should have in your collection.
You say Glock, I say PSA dagger, but I'm just biased.
I love my G20. I'll say that.
I'm just, say you guys know me. I'm just not a polymer gun guy. I say that's why my skin's crawling right now. It's I don't mention those words.
I don't like Glock. Okay, so that's why my first polymer handgun was a P320.
You should get a Sigma. That's what you should get. A Sigma.
No, the Sigmas are off. No.
But yeah. So I don't know. I like to goof around safely, mind you. Always safety first, but sometimes you get to stand on top of your buddy's car and shout "Aloha snack bar," la 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 la. Terribly insensitive, but then you bump fire your AK and great time.
Oh, yeah.
Bump firing with my belt loop, which has not been registered as a machine gun or anything yet, because belt loops are perfectly legal. Because we are safe and legal here.
I used the Jerry Mikulek method. Bump firing.
Nice.
Where it's just the finger.
Bionic trigger finger. Incredible.
Yep, bionic trigger finger. Yep.
But yeah, so things like that. Like I said, mainly I think it's one of those guns you need to have in the collection.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
So how about you, Baron? Do you have one?
World War III hasn't happened yet, so I haven't got my chance to pick one off the ground. So I do not have one. I do have an AR-15 in that caliber, and I have an SKS Yugo.
So here is a comparison of the two rounds, that 5.56 versus the 7.62 by 39. The 7.62 by 39 is on the left, 5.56 on the right, and basically you're looking at.
Notice how I said the cartridge is shorter, but it's a 30 caliber round.
Yeah, you're kind of looking at mass versus speed, right there. The 5.56 moves a lot faster, and it uses that speed to impart energy, and the 7.62 uses mass to cause damage.
But when compared to modern 30 caliber rounds, or even older 30 caliber rounds, the 7.62 by 39 is quite smaller. I mean, compared to 308, compared to like 30-06, or even some older Russian, 7.62 by 54R, which is technically still a 30 caliber. It's still it's really short.
Well, that's because it was designed to be that way, an intermediate cartridge.
Yeah.
For less, more controllability. So it's not, it's not a full size battle rifle round, but it's like the 5.56. They're both considered intermediate.
And unfortunately, every third world country in the world has AKs.
That's because they are cheap to produce, and the Soviet Union dumped them everywhere they could dump them.
Yep. Everybody bought them. Everybody bought them.
So I'd also like to interject. This is a personal feeling. I don't know if it's shared by the other panel members, but if you get an AK-47 chambered in 5.56, that is blasphemy. And if you get an AR chambered in 7.62 by 39, also blasphemy. However, if you do want an AK chambered in something that is going to be light and fast, might we suggest an AK-74 chambered in 5.45?
By 39.
But like I said, those are just my personal feelings.
Yeah, no,
I kind of feel the same. I don't own an AK or anything, but it just seems wrong.
It does.
Well, hold up. The only AK I'd ever want in 5.56 is the Galil. You know why? Because the Galil is built to be in 5.56. Instead of a converted Polish or other country gun converted to run 5.56.
I want a Dragunov.
Everybody does.
So what about the? Go ahead, Baron.
I'm going to defend the AR-15s in 7.62 by 39. The reason that you buy an AK is so you can shoot cheap ammo, right?
It used to be.
Okay. Well, yeah. Till very recently, like the last, 5 months?
That last 2 or 3 months, yeah.
Yeah. So affordability is number one. I'm not paying $1,000 for an AK when I can build an AR for $400 and shoot the same ammo.
Right.
I think that's totally stupid.
That's my voice of reason.
I had thought about doing that also, but just I had kind of reading up on it and just heard how dirty they get because of the 7.62. It kind of turned me off.
I will say though, if you buy an AK in 5.56, you should be deported.
What about AK and 9mm?
Well, that's fine.
That exists.
Yeah, the AKB.
No. If you're handing it to a 2-year-old, sure.
AKs are built for 2-year-olds. That's a fact.
No, AKs are built for monkeys. We've seen the images and the videos on YouTube of monkeys using AKs. True story. How they got them, I have no idea. They just picked them up off the battlefield.
M. Gabriel was saying that short barrel 7.62 will impart more energy than a 5.56.
Yeah.
Which I can believe, but the short barrel 5.56 will deafen everybody within a half-mile radius.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
So there are pluses.
If you're not worried about paying whatever it takes to get your ammo, I would do 300 blackout if you're doing a short barrel AR.
I don't even want to talk about 300 blackout right now.
Well, it takes the same bolts. So.
I forgot to say.
Change.
I'm back when we did our commercial break. I meant to say hello to everybody that's out there. Cash EDC, Gunmetal Guy USA, DJ Play Nice.
DJ.
And
Cash probably would have been a good dude to have on this chat if you could have got him.
I mean, if Zeke wasn't asleep right now, I'd say get Zeke Shoots in here and have him talk to you about AKs, because he's like one of the best builders on YouTube and one of the foremost authorities on AKs. Because he does videos on building them all the time, and I've had tons of chats with Zeke, and I love AKs, and a lot of my knowledge comes from what I've learned just muddling through, from what I've read, and some of it from what I've been imparted by Zeke. So if you haven't checked his YouTube channel out, look up Zeke Shoots.
Tulai Moo is back in from the pasture. He had to go
Moo.
Well, he had to go out in the pasture and make a few cow pies.
I gotta give him crap. He just randomly ducked out of our after chat last night.
Yeah. Why isn't G-Webs here? Because G-Webs is asleep.
I had a couple charts. Oops. Well, let me show you Night Strike's AKs here.
AK. It's all the same.
Oh, sorry. Pictures of AKs of his AK.
You only have one AK. I have more AKs than Night Strike.
You have more AKs right now. Just right now.
So let's see if I hit the right.
But I have I have better quality AKs.
He's got bumpy stocks.
Yuck.
I've got East German furniture on it.
So while we're looking at these, what's the difference between a Polish AK, Chinese AK, Hungarian AK, US AK?
The
Why
level
is there
of
the level of quality, the level of whether it was rushed or not,
no
way.
way.
How it's imported.
It's without a doubt the level of communism you want to feel when you shoot.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference between them? Between the different countries?
There is a difference. There isn't.
You can sense the level of oppression.
Yeah. Yes, you can sense.
See, you haven't been around one, but it's a real thing.
I got to do it in my bad Russian accent. Da, Tovarich. So, but yeah, honestly, the difference is some of the Hungarians, okay, like the 63 or the 65, and even some Romanians will have this. Basically, have the donkey dongle, which on the front, the you see the front hand lower handguard on my rifle. There'll be like a basically a protrusion sticking out you hold on to like it was a pistol grip. Okay, and that'll be on like the Hungarian AMD 63s, 65s, some Romanian guns. Okay.
Do you prefer to hold on to the protrusions?
No, I do not. That's why I
Okay.
have a normal handguard on mine.
I see a lot of people talk about them in a good way, but to me, it's just god awful ugly.
That's
Yep.
why I don't like it. That's why I do not like it. But honestly, if you don't have an AK and you're going out to buy one right now, I'm telling you right now, stay away from Sentry. Okay, the only Sentry AKs I would ever buy were the Wasser 10s they imported, or the C39 V2. And the only reason I go with the C39 V2 is because it's a milled receiver instead of a folded receiver.
Why is there a difference? What is the difference?
Okay, a milled receiver, basically they take a block of steel and they drill holes in it and they CNC it. Whereas a folded receiver, they just take a flat piece of I don't know how thick steel. They take a flat piece of steel and they fold it, and then they add the center screw and the rails, and they weld the rails onto it, and there you go. And the reason why it works, but you also when you shoot it, you can see that the folded receivers flex while they fire. You can see it, in like a slow motion video where someone shows, a slow motion video of an AK firing. You see how the whole rifle just kind of flexes. It's because it's a folded receiver, and it's how the rifle's designed. Of the companies to look at, as I said, don't get Sentries unless you get those two models. Here's the one AK brand you never buy whatsoever. Period. I don't care how cheap their AK is. Do not ever buy an IO Inc. AK. Never. Just don't. Not a good idea.
What's wrong with them?
They hardly ever work. Period. The only person I know that's actually had a working IO Inc. AK is Never Enough Ammo, and he sold it for a different AK.
Do they just jam up all the time?
They jam. They're not built to spec. They're built poor quality in Florida.
So Florida man builds them.
Florida man builds them. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I always hear people say American built AKs is just stay away from.
You know,
That's why
are good
one reason I'm a
American-built
little
AKs. I mean-
torn, because I would love to get a PSA AK, but
Yeah,
I'm
PSA
not
makes great
dealing with
AKs.
PSA.
You know, before PSA bought them, DDI used to make great AKs. If you know you can afford to splurge and you don't mind paying a little above $1,000 for an AK, the best company to get right now would be Arsenal. Arsenal makes some of the best AKs in the country.
Yes.
You know, and I'm just talking about companies where they do nothing but AKs and they turn them out, and those are the companies you want to look for, because you know you'll always be able to buy one from them. It might take a little while because of supply issues right now, because what's going on in the country, but you'll be able to get an AK from those companies.
But if you're going to buy an Arsenal, you're also going to pay for it.
Yeah, the Arsenals are a bit more expensive. So if
Do you know off the top of your head about what they're renting?
Not off the top of my head. I can do a search real quick.
So are they building all the parts, or are they importing?
They're building all the parts here.
I have heard
DJ,
of figures
let me-
recently as much as 2K, but I don't know how accurate that is as of current.
The standard Arsenal is probably going to be about $1,500. Okay.
Real quick for DJ, it's FAAS, not FASS.
Yeah. The Arsenals, as I said, it's going to be about $1,500 or more, depending on the type of AK. But the line you'd want to get would be the SLR 107 line of Arsenal AKs, but they're really, really good.
M. Gabriel's asking, are they milled? Are Arsenal AKs milled?
It depends. I think they do make some milled, but I think most of them are folded receivers as well. Same with PSA. PSA has folded receivers, okay? But I don't know if PSA makes any milled. They might, but it depends on the rifle. Depends on the company. I believe Arsenals are folded too, but just because it's folded doesn't mean it's a bad receiver. Okay, it just means it's the style. It's the style it is of AK, because there are two styles of AK, as I said, the folded receiver and the milled receiver. Both work just fine. It's just you're going to see a little more flex in the folded receiver just because it's a folded piece of steel instead of a milled piece of steel.
So do they do like lock and claim it's a feature?
No, they're not
flex.
like most manufacturers not like that.
So Gabriel's also asking, what about Sega?
Saiga, if you can find an old Saiga import or an old Molot or a Vepr import, because Molot, Vepr, and Saiga used to import AKs into the country, or they were like AKs, but they were more like shotgun style AKs. Not 12 gauge, but in 7.62x39, where they just had like a normal regular shotgun style stock. And a lot of people would convert them to a normal AK because you'd have an actual Russian receiver. Okay, because the old Saiga and Vepr 7.62x39 rifles, they were a real Russian receiver. Now there's not many in the country, but you can find them. They imported quite a few, so if you can find one of those, I would recommend converting that to a real AK if it's got the original furniture on it and the original configuration. Otherwise, if you want to just keep it as is, as a nice conversation piece, go for it. Let me see if I can find you a picture of what I'm talking about, so we know what we're talking, so people know what I'm talking about, because they might be like, I've never seen what an original Saiga AK looks like.
Yeah, they dress them up that way to get around the sporting purpose.
The import laws.
Yeah,
Sporting purpose
the import
laws.
rule.
So,
M. Gabriel's asking if anyone's noticed the amount of barrel whip in the new Galil advertisement. I haven't seen it, so
Me either.
I'm going to say no.
No.
I don't think. Sorry, I lost my mouse there for a second. Also wanted to share. Let me get rid of these.
All right. This is basically what a Saiga would look like. That's what one Saiga would look like. That it was imported in the country. A Vepr wouldn't look too far off from that too.
Are you showing something?
I'm screen sharing. Yes.
Oh,
Can you see it?
nope. We just see your logo.
Well, then you need to. I need you to share this. You know how to do that?
I don't know.
It's like adding another person.
Yeah, you go down where we're sitting, and it's like, hey, look at this window you got to let in. It'll be next.
Oh,
to
there
Night
we go. I
Strike on
see
the
it.
right.
Yeah.
It was covered up. I got you.
This is what
There.
a Saiga would look like that might have been imported. Yes, they got a different top cover on there because they took a top cover and put one of those fold up top covers, but more or less it'd have a normal AK style top cover, but as you can see, there's no pistol grip, and if you notice the trigger group and everything is further back on the receiver than it would normally be. Normally, it would be right the trigger guard and the trigger would be right behind the magazine release.
That buttstock's hideous.
And that buttstock is hideous. That's one style they put on there, and then they have the normal straight style that you'd have like off of a shotgun.
Kind
The
of
Mossberg 500, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a Russian M14.
Yeah. But anyways, all you would back in the day, people would just convert those to be regular AKs, where they'd move the trigger guard and trigger forward, right behind where the magazine release is, and then they add a traditional AK stock to it, and redo the barrel to and muzzle to accept a slant break, and pretty much you'd have a normal AK there, and yes, they would put normal handguards on it too. But that's what I meant by they took a Saiga or a Vepr and they would convert it to an AK, because that's what they look like when they imported it in the country. Small magazines with a rifle stock on it instead of the traditional AK stock that were the AKM stock we're used to, like my rifle.
So what's the difference between like AK, PKM, and the other?
PKM is a machine gun. Okay. The different style, the different types of AKs. Okay, you've got the AK is just basically a generic term for any rifle, any Kalashnikov rifle, in 7.62 by 39 or 5.45 by 39. Okay, now AKM is basically it's got a stock. Okay, it's got a standard traditional stock on it. That's an AKM. Okay, now if it's got an underfolder, it's just an AK. That's really all it is. There's also side folders too.
But what's the standard? Is there a standard barrel length?
For the United States, there is 16 inches. As far as is there a standard barrel length for the AKs outside the United States? It's pretty much whatever the country wants, or whatever the users want.
I have a ballistics chart, diagram, we'll say, that looks at. See if I grab the right one. Nope, I grabbed the wrong one. Hang on, let me try this again. Which was kind of interesting. It shows the bullet path, and I put a link to the article I got this off of in the description, so you can read more about it. I believe this is the path through ballistics gel. So
Yeah,
there's
that's the right one.
yeah, there's a bunch of different calibers, and then I colored because it shows the tumble of the bullet too, but it was really hard to see, so I added the red on some of them just so you could see. But it's kind of interesting to see, like the 7.62 by 39 Russian, 120 and a half grain. It goes in and you see two cavitations, and then it tumbles down. And is it on the other chart? There was another one where you see the bullets move up, after it goes through.
The 7.62 by 39. Once it hits a target, it just tumbles and goes into several pieces and just continues on until it eventually stops.
And if you look up at the 5.56, which it pretty much looks like it imparts all its energy
once upon impact.
Yeah.
That's why if you have an AK and you want to test the capabilities of your AK versus an AR, here's what you do. Take your standard M4 16-inch barrel AR, take your AK and 16-inch barrel AK, and go out and take a concrete block. Shoot the concrete block with the AR first. You'll see it makes a nice hole in the concrete block. A nice hole. Now shoot it with the AK. The AK will literally crumble that part of the concrete block. That's the difference between the two bullets. Whereas the AR round will go straight through the concrete block and make a nice hole, the AK round will literally destroy that concrete block.
Yeah, and if you look at the one below it is 7.62 by 39 Yugoslavian, 124 grain, and you see it goes in, cavitates twice, and then leaves in an upward trajectory, which I thought that was kind of interesting to see the different cavitations and then the exit path.
Yeah, the 124 grain is more the standard these days, whereas the 120 is not really used so much anymore because they don't really use the M4A3 that much anymore. It's pretty much the standard M6070 because it was mass produced more.
And the other kind of interesting thing, which it appears in the diagram, in the drawings, where all the bullets will tumble counterclockwise.
Mm-hmm.
So they go in and then will shift backwards as they tumble, rather than going in and nosediving and tumbling.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm kind of interpreting what I'm seeing, but from how the bullet positions, it appears that as they come in, they nose up and then rotate backwards as they move forward.
Have they tested that during Southern Hemisphere shooting people? Does it go the other way?
I don't think there's a Coriolis effect on the bullets.
No, there's not because it's not liquid. It's just,
So a good rule of thumb, 5.56 is good for tissue. 7.62 by 39 is good for hard barriers.
Mm.
And I personally, my philosophy is I don't care. I don't care if it goes through. I don't care if it stops in the middle, as long as it hits them. But
I didn't buy my AK to shoot people. I bought my AK to go out in the backyard, have fun with it, and have cheap ammo to shoot.
there's nothing wrong with that.
But but that doesn't mean that if somebody's trying to break into my house or harm my family, that I won't pull out the AK and use it if I have to.
say your go-to?
It's honestly the nearest rifle I have next to me is my go-to, and it could be either an AR, it could be an AK, it could be my M14. It just depends on what's closest. So
You were asking about average barrel length for like AK.
Yeah.
So the SKS was 20 inches. And that was supposed to be their quote unquote rifle that they'd give people. The AK was more of a submachine gun. So it was 16 inches and under.
Ah, I gotcha.
well, in the United States, it's 16 inches. I mean, I
Well, I just meant for design
Yeah.
for military.
the actual design, I think it's more like 14 and a half. Remember, they took the AK and they made a machine gun variant where they just beefed up the either the folded receiver or they beefed up the milled receiver in the front and the back, and they called it the RPK. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
So the RPK is just they beefed up the receiver to handle longer sustained full auto fire, and basically, if you look up an RPK, it's literally just an AK on steroids that just has a big, large drum. But the cool thing is that RPK drum can be used in any AK. It's backwards compatible.
Yep.
So which one has the gas tube on the bottom? Is that the RPK or?
I think that's the AN-94.
I was just thought of that. It's not
No.
real important, but
The AN-94 had the gas tube on the bottom, and it basically was able to fire like 2 rounds, one after the other. The AN-94 was in 5.45 by 39,
yeah.
but it is an AK variant and a derivative of an AK. It's got a bit more pieces, and it looks a little different, but it has that distinct AK style. He also uses 74 magazines.
So what's the difference between an AK-74 and an AK-47?
Okay, AK-47 uses 7.62 by 39 ammo only. AK-74 uses 5.45 by 39 only. Small. So basically, it's cartridge. That's the only difference. And
They
magazines.
went for
Ma-
higher
magazines are
velocity.
different. See, after the I would say after the Vietnamese encountered the 5.56 being used in Vietnam, Russia looked at that and saw that 7.62 by 39 wasn't as effective as 5.56 was on the battlefield. So they took the 7.62 by 39 caliber and they looked at it and the AK platform. They said, okay, how can we make this bullet more effective like the 5.56 the Americans are using? And after doing that, they came up with the 5.45 by 39 cartridge, and they just applied that cartridge to run out of an AK, and they named the AK-74. It looks exactly like a 47, except the magazine's a little bit different, and it runs 5.45. I mean, unless you saw the cartridge out of both rifles, it's very hard to differentiate between an AK-74 and a 47.
Yeah.
The only difference is the magazine on the 74s are a little bit different than the AK than the 47s.
So what about weight wise? Is average how much heavier than like an AR or is an AK?
A 74, a normal, AKM 74, usually about 6.8 to 7.5 pounds. Okay, depending on at a 47,
8.
about 7.7, 8 pounds. Okay, for a standard AKM.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
we're-
with no accessories.
It was with no accessories, but that is with a full magazine. So, but with an AR, an AR-15, AR-15 is like what, 6 pounds, if that.
Yeah.
Depends on which model.
Depends on the model, but a standard 16-inch, is about 6 pounds.
Shit you see people carrying these days is like 11 pounds.
11
You got
pounds.
that fucker loaded
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, but you see, I'm a purist when it comes to ARs. I just, just give me the standard A2 handguards. Give me the F Mark front sight post, and give me a carry handle. I'm good to go.
You don't
Give me-
have a 10.5-inch barrel with 15 pounds worth of stuff hanging off the
Nope.
front?
Nope. Just give me a 16-inch
Wow.
barrel. 1-7 twist. Give me a 30-round magazine, or hell, I'll even go with the 20-round magazine, and I'm good to go. And if you ask why would I go with a 20-round magazine over a 30, it's easier to prone with an AR-15 in a 20-round magazine that is a 30-round.
Yeah, the main reason they went
That's
to
that's the only reason I use 20-round magazines, and why I have them is just so I could go prone with the rifle if I need to.
Don't let
the
Nice
main
Drink fool you.
reason.
If he's going out and he's doing any LARPing or shit hits the fan, he's gonna get really tired really quick. He needs to lay down, take a nap.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Main
that's,
reason you
that's
have a
why I'm
barrel
bringing
under
guns and
16.
barbecue around, so he can protect me while I'm taking my nap.
Oh yeah,
It's
nobody
for-
can shoot at you if you're making bacon and great food. So it'd be like, oh wait a minute, ceasefire, ceasefire. I'm like, that's right, I bring peace.
Urban warfare, people clearing houses. That's the only reason they went with shorter barrels.
Well, yeah. Well, not just urban warfare. It's just in close quarter combat. The shorter barrel gave better advantages over trying to lug around a 20-inch barrel rifle anywhere, because if you're going around small street corners and whatnot, yeah, you're gonna bang that rifle into places.
But the point of the AR was velocity.
Yeah.
When you hack that sucker down to 10 inches, you're kind of defeating the purpose.
Right.
Might as well go to a different gun.
All of my ARs are normally 16 inches. I only get 16-inch ARs. There's only one or two ARs that I've got that are longer than 16 inches, because they're in the rifle length configuration. So it basically an M16 A2 or A4 build. But I don't have the Knights Armament rail on it, because I'm not going to pay $500 for a specialized rail.
Yeah.
I'll just put the standard A2 grips on, four grips on it, and be done with it, because easier, cheaper.
Actually, I have a side tangent. Talking
If
about
you-
barrels.
If you want that, that's fine. It's fine. I like mine to be pure. Okay, I know it sounds wrong, but honestly, I like simple.
No, I agree.
Keep it simple, keep it original. It looks a little better. Yeah, it might not be as cool without the latest EOTech 512 on it, but at the same time, if that breaks, you're still stuck with iron sights.
I got a question for you three. So, the main reason you buy an AK is to shoot cheap ammo, right?
More or less.
Okay. So, you want to shoot a lot of ammo. That's why you want it cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now,
How hard is it to change the barrel out once you burn the barrel out in an AK?
I heard it's an
That-
absolute
that-
nightmare.
That's a good question. What you'd have to do is you either have to buy the tabletop AK kit, or you have to get a press, and basically you take the front trunnion pin out, and then you have to press the barrel out of the front trunnion.
Yeah, you have to use
Using
a hydraulic
A
press.
hydraulic press. Yes.
and
and that-
as opposed to an AR, you just use a wrench and take the
Was-
barrel off.
Exactly.
That is one of the main reasons I did not do that. Because if I plan on shooting a bunch of cheap ammo, I want to be able to swap out my barrel.
But again, the barrel I got on my AK and the barrel a lot of people the barrels that are sold for AKs right now, the likelihood of shooting the barrel out. I mean, you'd have to shoot thousands upon thousands of rounds because there's better barrels out there now for AKs.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got Green Mountain making barrels, you've got PSA making barrels, you've got all these good companies making AK barrels, and they're making up a yeah they're made here in the United States, but the manufacturing is now down to a good level to which those barrels aren't gonna crap out on you after like say 1,000 rounds or 2,000 rounds. You're literally gonna have to put like 10 or 20 maybe 30,000 rounds to that barrel before you shoot it out.
Let me put it another way. For the same price as an AK, I could build an AR that shoots the same caliber, and I could buy 4 barrels for it.
Not for the price.
For $1,000?
For $1,000, yeah, you could probably build an
Because you don't need a dedicated lower.
by 39.
It's the same lower.
Actually, I've seen there's the Mutant, which uses AK mags,
Oh yeah, that.
and then there's the PSA KS47, which is like a copy of the Mutant that also takes AK mags. And I had one of those where it's got an AR style upper, but it uses a modified lower that takes AK mags, and that's the one I would get because that's the type of AR variant that I would get that shoots AK 7.62 by 39, because then I can reuse my magazines and I don't have to buy a whole set of new magazines for a new rifle.
So bringing it back to cleaning, how hard are they to clean?
Not very
AKs.
hard. Not very hard. You
Um,
basically just open up the dust cover, and you can remove the trigger group and everything, and then just clean it, and then just throw a bore snake down the barrel, and you're pretty much done. I mean, if you want to clean all the carbon off of the bolt and the bolt carrier, you can do that. That's not hard. Just take the bolt out.
yeah, the
Disassembly on an AK is simple, like an AR, where the bolt carrier group is just all one piece, and then you just remove the actual bolt part from the carrier. That's it.
when I've seen people do stuff with them, it just seemed like there was more. Take this thing off so you can take that thing off, so you can take that thing off. Where an AR, basically you pop one pin out, fold it up, open.
Actually, it's
and
less
then-
pieces because the charging handle is built into the bolt carrier. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Whereas with an AR, the charging handle and the bolt carrier are two different pieces. So an AR actually has more pieces.
Yeah. I'm not, criticizing one way or another. It's just, from what I had seen, it seemed like there was more steps in taking it apart than, like with an AR.
Well, with an AR, it's just 2 pins. You take the upper receiver off, and you take the bolt and the charging handle out.
Yeah.
And then you disassemble the bolt. Disassembling the bolt on an AR is more steps than an AK, because with an AK you just twist the bolt off. Whereas with an AR you got to take the pin out in order to get the cam pin, and then you have to take the other pin out in order to get the bolt out, and the firing pin.
Yeah, with the AKs, I understand their purpose and their design. It's never interested me, and honestly, part of it is probably the commie connection, which I grew up in that era.
I was born towards the end of the Cold War, so but I was born early enough that I saw some of the Cold War, happen. Some of the stuff that happened at the end, but again, it's just like, yeah, I watched all of MacGyver. I know Soviet Union is bad. Don't like Soviet Union. Okay, but the thing is, by the time I was looking for an AK, it's like the Soviet Union's gone. What do I care?
Yeah.
I mean, if I can get like a parts gun, I can buy a parts gun, and it's made off of former Soviet equipment. Why not? It's one way to thumb my nose up at them. because
And, you know,
the Soviet Union's not getting any money off those guns. They already got their money off that guns, and then they went broke.
and I don't have any problem with people owning them or liking them or
Yeah.
shooting them. It's for me, it's the same as a Luger. I will never own a Luger, and it's,
I want a Luger. I also want a Walther P1. But again, here's the caveat: I want either a World War I Luger, or I want a post-war Walther P1, because I don't want any of those markings that were any of those World War II markings. And you know the markings I'm talking about.
I've always wanted a P-38.
Well, that's what a Walther P1 is. It's a P-38 that's post-war, so it doesn't have the markings.
Yeah, and that's just my personal, and it's it's a visceral feeling that I just don't. I'm not interested in it,
Right.
and again, like with the AKs, I understand their purpose and their use, and it's the tolerances are looser, but that works for that design. It was designed by a tractor mechanic.
Actually, he wasn't a tractor mechanic at that time. He was working for the railroads at that time.
But so I don't
He was working for
own
the
one.
military railroads.
I probably won't ever own one. I can't say I will never, but
I said that at one point, and then a friend of mine let me shoot his AK, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so much fun. I want to get an AK. Then I got an SKS before that, because I was like, well, it's not an AK, but they've always been cheaper, and they used to be the farmer's buddy. And then I got a really bad one, a crappy SKS. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna get an AK anyways. So happen.
But for me, it's kind of the same as the caliber wars, where I don't really care what caliber people like to use, but I'm still gonna make fun of you.
I mean, if you're gonna get an AK, get it in 760 by 39, or 545. If you can get it 74, get 74.
So I don't know if we covered anything anybody was interested in on AKs. Hopefully, because I kind of lost what I was talking about a long time
I was
ago.
just trying to be generic,
Well, that's kind of what I wanted. I didn't want to get too in depth, like with the charts. I didn't want to get into statistical data and all that. Just a brief overview.
Jim Gabriel says, so is it worse to have those symbols on it, or worse for it to have been used in war, whatever that entailed? Yeah, that's part of the reason why I don't want those type of guns that might have. But yes, I know World War I might have hurt people too, but I would rather have post-war, because the German police used the Walther P1 post-war, after they lost and they got told what they did was bad, and they hung people.
So talking World War I, this came in from DJ Plain Ice. It's an American Enfield 30-06.
It's been sporterized.
It has. That's a P-17.
You don't know.
Yeah, that's the American Enfield. I think it's P-17. That's what they call it.
Let me show the other picture, which shows the head stamp here. See if I get the right picture. Oops.
Yeah, it's a cock on close 30-06. It holds 7 rounds if you know how to load it right.
Yep.
He wanted me to share that for Guns and Barbecue, if he's still awake.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Say he showed me before. I think he's looking to get rid of it, and it's like, let me know how much. He never did. It's in 1917.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anybody else has Gorn, they can send it in.
That's the United. It was formerly named the United States Rifle Caliber 30 model of 1917. That was its official military designation. but everybody's just called it the American Enfield. It's also called P17.
Yeah, people call it a P17 because
Pattern of
the pattern
1917.
14.
Pattern of 1917. The P14 was the British Enfield that they used in World War I, which is pattern of 1914.
Yeah, because that's the British nomenclature is pattern.
Pattern,
Rifle.
yes.
So it doesn't really work for the U.S. model.
And the U.S. rifles were always, M this model,
Yeah.
this model, that. Yes.
M1917.
Or M1911.
Yep. They're good guns, though.
Yeah.
Supposedly, the Winchesters are not parts compatible with the other ones.
No. Though I heard the Eddistones are nice too.
They are nice.
The Eddystone was another manufacturer that made the 1917, and those were really sought after.
So if you get a Winchester, you want to make sure it's got the same Winchester parts and it's all matching. Otherwise, you might have some issues.
Well, that's the problem about the United States military. The United States military, unlike other governments, don't. If it was mass produced, it doesn't normally have a serial number on the parts. It'll just have a part number. Okay. You can tell this by. Have you ever, Baron? Do you have an M1 Garand?
I do.
Okay. Have you ever taken the parts apart and looked at the actual parts?
Yeah.
You'll
It's
notice
just got
that
the maker's mark.
It has the maker's mark, and if you look at the M1 Garand parts, they've got each part has its own different specific part number. Okay, and that's how the United States military has done it for years, where they would just have a part number. That way, the armorer, if the armorer had to replace a part, or the manufacturer did, they just pulled it from a box that had the label on it with the part number on it, and just swapped it out. They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't serialize each part because that's. I guess they didn't want to. They didn't want to spend the money on it.
Well, it's not really an issue once you get into production where you can actually make stuff that's exactly the same every time.
Right.
But that was the problem with the Winchesters was they were not the same as the Eddystone and who was the other guy making them? Remington.
Remington was making them. Winchester
Yeah.
was making them. Let me look at the.
We just really nerded out.
Yeah. Hey, we're
That's all
talking
right.
about guns. People love to talk about guns. Period. At least they're watching this. They love guns.
Yeah, I forgot to say at the beginning of the chat.
We
to send
might go
in
down
porn
rabbit
pics.
holes.
I think I got most of what I'm supposed to cover that I always forget.
Okay,
the
Winchester
end.
made them. Eddystone made them. Remington made them. Those are the only three companies that made the 1970s. I thought one other manufacturer made it, but apparently not.
Oh,
Any other guns you want to talk about, Foss? I'm game.
I don't know.
Should we talk about SKS real quick?
Sure.
Should you buy $1,000 AK when you can get a $400 SKS?
I wouldn't spend $400 on an XKS personally.
Well, what would you pay?
Prices that you can't buy them for anymore.
Okay.
Well, what's the functional difference between an AK and an SKS?
Well, the SKS, as I said, it's more accurate, but it's got a short. It's got a instead of the bolt carrier having the piston on it like the AK does, because the piston is on the bolt carrier. the SKS bolt carrier, the charging handle and the bolt carrier are, it's the bolt carrier's in two pieces, more or less. So it's different. Still has dust cover like an AK, but it's got a built-in 10-round magazine. The bayonet is mounted to the rifle, whether you got a spike or blade. What else?
You can get detachable mags.
You can, but honestly, they don't work that well.
Depends on which ones you buy.
I've got a couple. They don't work the greatest, and I got Steel Max. But the SKS, it's different.
I don't know when it's been. It was probably early mid '90s when I shot one, so it's been a long, long time.
Yeah.
It didn't do much for me.
And it's just it's like the Russian version of Garand, more or less. That's what the SKS was.
Well, I think the biggest thing about the SKS is used to be, they were like, $75.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got mine for 150 in 2014 before they went straight up. So
it's kind of like the Mosin the Gaunt's, where they were cheap, so you could get a rifle for cheap.
Yeah, they used to be like $50. Yeah.
Can we all agree if you buy one of those right now, you just made a huge mistake?
Actually, I bought one earlier this year, but I got a Type 53 M44 SK at Mosin for $250. That's still a good deal.
But right now, if you buy one right now,
If you buy one right now, you're going to pay $300, $400, $500 for Mosin. It's not worth it. You're
and
crazy.
I don't know if we mentioned PSA is going to start doing steel case ammo.
Yes, they do.
Are they going to do 54R?
They're going to do 54R. They said they're going to do 760 by 39 and 545. They said they're going to do all the Russian calibers.
Well, I hope it happens.
I do too. Otherwise, they spent all that money on that plant for nothing. SKS prices will continue to climb, just like AK prices and probably
Everything prices.
Yeah, wait till SKSs cost $1,000.
If SKS costs $1,000, I'm selling mine right away.
Oh, we didn't even mention it, but if you're in a banned state, you can get an SKS when you can't get an AK.
Yeah, boss. You can get an SKS.
Well, I can get an AK.
Yep.
Can you up there?
Yeah. You just can't have short-barreled shotgun. What's the trigger?
Binary.
Triggers.
Bump stocks.
Bump stocks. Machine
Nobody
guns.
can have bump stocks these days.
I thought
But,
there was one circuit that overruled that.
It's still in the courts.
Sixth Circuit did, but that was only a 3-judge panel, and they withdrew their ruling, and it's going to en banc.
Well, if you own one, definitely destroy it. Don't keep it. I don't know.
Biggest thing, I've said it a bunch of times, and I'll continue saying it. Just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the less people that know your business means the less people know your business.
You mean you shouldn't make a YouTube channel where you tell everyone every gun you have?
That's one of the ways people get in trouble. If they're doing something that someone else might think is not good, is they talk about it. But don't talk about it. Not everybody needs to know your business. It's just a personal opinion, and I'm not telling anybody to do anything illicit. But just saying.
And these have been words of wisdom by DM Foss.
Shall
In this
not
case,
be in fridge.
I do not own any AKs.
I don't own any ARs.
No. Since you brought it up, the funny thing about Washington, it's the same requirement to buy a Marlin Model 60 as it is an AK-47.
Any semi-automatic rifle is considered an
Anything.
assault rifle.
Fixed mag, doesn't matter. It could be a 2-round semi-auto, and it's an assault weapon.
Yep.
I'm glad I live in South Carolina. No offense.
But
Live
we
in
can still buy
Pennsylvania.
them. Just we have to have some
Yeah.
stupid training certificate, take an
Don't-
online
don't
class
need
for
that.
free.
Don't need that.
I'm just saying, if you live here already,
Yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah, if you're in Washington and you need to do the class, go to Sporting Systems.
yep.
Their gun shop. They go to their website. They have an online course for free, and then you can answer the questions, print out your certificate. You're good to go. I don't know. I've only bought a semi-automatic rifle from one shop, and I told them, I forgot to bring the certificate, and they're like, did you take the class? I said, yeah. I go, okay. So I don't know if there's other gun shops like that, but so if you're in Washington, you can go on the Sporting Systems website and do your training for free. Baron, can you call up a link for Sporting Systems?
I can't post links. Won't let
What?
me.
Why not?
See,
Are you not?
I'm not special.
How are you? Oh, I think I know why.
Is it Vancouver, Washington?
Sporting
Yeah.
Systems, yeah.
Yeah.
Oregon, as Yankee calls it.
Oregon.
Um,
I think this is their website.
yeah. Sorry about that. That's because I modded a different name. So now you can post links.
I think I posted the right link.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that looks right.
I've actually been to their website before, so
And I will post the link to the Discord server.
Yes, there is a
There
link
it is.
in the description, but also go ahead and Baron will put a link out in the chat.
wait, you've got your own Discord now too?
Well, my name's on
It's
it,
got a
but
fancy one.
it's run by somebody else. I'm just the pretty face.
Oh, so basically you make Baron run it.
What's his
Um,
name? Penfold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, barbecue. If you got a jet, that's fine.
Yeah, I sent him back to bed real quick. I'm gonna see if he comes back out.
We'll probably wrap it up here pretty soon too.
Oh, something I want to mention, going way back to the reloading chat. If you got newborns or young kids, you want to make sure you don't expose them to lead when you're cleaning everything and solvents. Just
Great
be
point.
careful what you you don't want to make like a mess on your dining room table, then feed your family there.
So we know what Foss has to do now. He has to take that part and edit it out of here and take it and put it in where I was mentioning, like receiving blankets and all these other baby accessories that you might end up with after having a baby that you won't use, and put it in there.
And then he needs to put the More You Know logo after.
This is how we can tell who got to the end. The people that didn't, all their kids will have lead poisoning.
You know what? That's a good point. And say, I approve this message.
I honestly, I'm just happy when people make the beginning of the chat. It's a god.
Yeah, wasn't it Last week we said if you get to the end, give it a thumbs down. How many thumbs downs did we get?
I don't recall. There were at least a couple.
I was one of them.
Because I know, I don't know if it was M. Gabriel, maybe, said
It's
He
got
was
one
thumbs
thumbs down.
yeah.
We
So he
made it
might
to
have
the
just
end.
said thumbs down. Yeah, that reminds me. I did have somebody that thumb down one of my videos reviews on the EDC
I
belt,
saw that.
which they left. It was nice. If you thumb down a video, leave a comment and let them know, why you didn't like it, which they did. Which I didn't understand exactly why. They said I didn't explain why I didn't like the belt, and I thought I did, but that lets me know, if there was a problem. So it's always helpful if you leave comments, or if you liked it,
Yeah, I never
Say
get
you liked it.
comments. I never get comments. Unless you leave a comment. You're like the only one that actually comments.
Well, I try to, leave comments, and sometimes I just don't have anything to say, so I might thumbs up, just to show support.
And I know there's plenty of times you're thumbing down just to give me that 1-2.
I rarely will thumb somebody's video down. I won't leave a comment or thumb at it.
I don't mind. I'm used to it. I'm used to the harsh criticism.
But that's like eBay. I don't ever leave negative comments. If it's if there's a problem, I'll try and work it out. And then if it doesn't, then I won't leave a bad review. I'll just give them a negative.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got 2 thumbs down. It's working.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, no, yeah, if I leave a thumbs down, I usually comment on the video, hey, this is why I left the thumbs down. And the one time, I think it was 22 Plinkster, he got real witchy with me. Is like, fuzz off, dude. I was just letting you know why it was, and it wasn't anything. I told him, I was like, it's nothing really with you. I just don't approve of PSA. Well, if it was a video with PSA, and it might have done the same thing, but it was the other company that shall not be named from Illinois.
Rocker.
Oh, I also had on the last meme video, I had a couple people say that they complained, they didn't like it, which that's fine, and then said blocked. It's like, well, you probably weren't a subscriber anyways.
Yeah.
What's
And if you were, I'm not really concerned about losing it.
Yeah, what were they worried about? You going and commenting in their video?
I don't know. It's most likely just grandstanding, but I just thought it was kind of funny that they needed to tell me blocked.
I blocked you like a year ago. What took them so long?
I mean, I blocked one of your troll accounts. What does that matter?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And on a side note, the Discord, if you're having trouble getting DM Foss's YouTube videos in your subscription, we post those automatically in the server. So that's another way to find his stuff.
Oh, and
And you can actually talk to him.
While I'm thinking about it, which also more stuff that should have been front loaded on the chat. There'll probably be a couple giveaways coming up. In January, it'll be a year for the chat. I only do 2 a month, so it'll be 24 or 24th chat, but 1 year worth of chats. So I figured we'd do a 1 year giveaway. Not sure what we're going to give away. We got a little bit of time to figure that out. And then I crossed over the 1,000 sub mark. So I was going to do a 1,000 sub giveaway in the near future when I figure out what to give away.
Yeah, congratulations.
All right.
You keep this up, you're going to hit 1,500 before you do the 1,000 celebration.
I am honored that people sub to my channel for any reason. So I appreciate it, and the giveaway is just a little way to give back, to say thank you.
You definitely deserve the success.
Thank you. But so is there any last comments you guys have?
Shall not be infringed.
Why don't you go ahead and plug your GunTube one more time?
Check out GunTube.org. Check out Night Strike on YouTube. You can find me. And shall not be infringed.
How about you, Barbecue?
Baron, I always mean to ask, does Baron have a channel?
I do not.
Oh, okay. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't some jerk that wasn't subscribed to you, because I
Well,
always enjoy chatting with you.
He does have a channel. He just doesn't have any videos.
Yes. Everybody has a channel.
I do have videos, but they're private.
Ooh. All right, OnlyFans, cool.
Yeah.
Let's
Join the
see.
Discord server and ask me about it. I might send you one.
All inclusive.
So go check out GunTube, get Night Strike Salute. If you didn't catch the beginning of the show, go back, check it out, because Night Strike dropped some knowledge on us about some black powdery balls. It's a good time. Do DM Foss a favor, share this video. If you're watching, chances are you probably have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all kinds of social media where you can spread this far and wide. And, let's get this guy up to 2,000 subscribers. That way he can give Guns and Barbecue 2 guns. That might be a little selfish, but
Yeah, sure. But thank you. How about you, Baron?
What? No, I got nothing. Keep buying American. Screw commies. They can burn in hell.
America!
If you buy in Marinko, you
yeah.
should be deported.
So with that, like I said, there'll be some giveaways coming up. So keep an eye out for that. And check out these guys on the YouTubes. If I wasn't lazy, there's links to both Night Strikes and Guns and Barbecues. There's links to their channels in the descriptions. So check them out, give them a subscribe, give them some love. And I hope, don't forget to set your clocks back if you haven't set your clocks back. Hashtag, let's get rid of this garbage.
Yes.
There's no reason for it.
I put the link for GunTube out there again.
So go check out GunTube, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
You still here? It's over. Go home. Go.